What's the most important thing in retirement? What do you guys think? Leave me comments. What do you think? Is it the finances? First of all, let me apologize I'm usually pretty scruffy, but this is pretty scruffy. I was just cleaning around the house and this idea came to me. So I was like, hey, make a video about it. Is it finances? And check out that rainbow back there. We've been having some thunderstorms. It's just fading away now. Finance is very important, right? Obviously. You get the finances right, you've gone a long way in getting ready for retirement. You got to start with that early, guys. You got to start with that very, very, very early, right? Not like 40, like me when I first started saving. So finances, very, very important. But I don't think it's the most important thing. Location. Yeah, finding the right place to retire to, right? Very important. It took me 6 months to find this place up here in the high desert. 6 months. I looked in Northern California. I looked in parts of Arizona. I looked all over California. 6 months to find it, and I'm glad I took my time. So yes, location, very important. You have to have things to do, right? You have to have things that there's options. Luckily, as most of you know, I go back and forth to Los Angeles a couple times a month. That's where I find my options. Up here, not too much. But if I didn't have that outlet, guys, I don't know if I could live here permanently. I really don't. So if anything ever happens with my relationship, you'll find out if I can live here permanently. So location, yes, very important. You got to start researching that years before. Years before you retire. Don't just do it on a whim. Okay? Very, very important. So money, important. Location, important. What about having things to do in retirement? Yeah, pretty darn important. For those of you who do have a lot of hobbies, should be easy for you. Well, let's not say easy, easier, okay, than someone who doesn't give it a second thought and just retires and then they're like, what do I do now? So having things to do, location, money. What about retiring around friends? Socialization. Yes, absolutely important. Hugely, dare I say hugely important. Yes, it is. It's one thing I noticed up here. I've met some people, not as many as maybe I could have, and I'm working on that. Believe me, I'm working on that. But it's not like when you're working, guys. It's not like when you're working. Socialization is kind of built into a workplace in a lot of places, right? Not all, but a lot of places. And as most of you have found out, that's not really there for you when you leave the workplace. I can count on one hand the amount of friends that I have maintained relations with since I left the workplace. So if you don't have socialization, you can deteriorate. Depression, anxiety. The best thing to do if you're in those spots, to get your mind off yourself and onto something or someone else. That takes your mind off your troubles and puts it on something else. If you have socialization, that automatically helps you, right? Take your mind off your troubles. Hey, maybe you got a friend or a family member that's going through stuff, right? Socialization helps have a healthy retirement. Hey, if you guys are seeing me for the first time, my name is Duane, and this is a channel for people retiring on moderate income. If you think you might like that, think about subscribing and like the channel. Okay, so we got through a bunch of topics there, right? But we haven't got to the most important one yet. What do you think it is? Being diligent. Being diligent in your savings. That's important, but it's not it. As most of you know, I didn't start being diligent until I was 40. If I was diligent when I was 25, I would be on a much bigger than a moderate income retirement. That's for sure. So being diligent. And I don't know about you guys, but I've had friends from high school, friends from grade school. They're the kind that got out of high school in 4 years, boom, went to a big college. 4 years later, they're out, boom, got a great job, boom, started a family. They're doing really well. I was never one of those. It took me a long time to get diligent. So yes, very important to get diligent. But you want to know what the number one thing I think is that I just thought about probably 5 minutes ago? Well, we've been going 5 minutes, so let's say 10 minutes ago. Being true to yourself. There could be things that you think you might like in retirement. Okay? For instance, with me, first thing I was going to do was get a tiny house, plop it on a piece of land, and just go from there. You know what? I'm glad I didn't, guys. I'm glad I didn't. Because this place I'm at now, a little over 1,000 square feet, 2 bedroom, 2 full baths. It's much more to my taste. Now, I'm kind of a moderate minimalist. I don't need much, but I think looking back at it now, if I would have been saying a 300 square foot tiny house, I don't know if that would have been right for me. I just don't. What about striving? Here's another thing about being true to yourself. What about those people that are just striving to get a lot of money? They sacrifice so much to just go, get tons of money. You'd think by 50 or 60 years old, you would know if that would make you happy or not, right? Some people are a lot more materialistic than other people. So if you are one of those that are saying, I need $3 million to be happy in retirement, do you really? Think about it down deep. What makes you happy? What makes you satisfied? Hey, and there's nothing wrong at all if you say a $75,000 car, a $1.5 million house, nothing, no judgment here. People are different. But if people are just telling you that you need over $1 million in retirement, do you think you'll need that, guys? Be honest with yourself. Be true to yourself. How have you been getting along before you retired? I mean, are you like low maintenance? Do you like the finer things in life, or are you good with just simple things? That's another drawback of that whole mentality of you need. Oh, you like the finer things? Is that what you're saying? We'll get to you later. That's one of the big drawbacks about financial advisors saying you need $1 million plus. A lot of people don't. Know yourself, guys. Wouldn't you hate it if you were spending all that time, all that stress to have $1.5 million? Yes, it would be nice. But what about if you get there and you find, you know what? I don't even need all this money. I could have sacrificed 10, 15 years back then of low stress, a much more low stress job that's probably taken a couple years off my life. And I didn't really even need the money. If you're the kind that likes to go on big vacations, round the world trips or going to Europe a couple times a year, okay, maybe you'll need the money. But are you really? Think about it, guys. Think about it. Be true to yourself. If you can be true to yourself before, let's say way before you get to retirement, that'll help you figure out, what do I really need in retirement? Do I need to have $1 million plus? Do I need to live in a fancy location? Or would you be happy like where I am, very rural area? Know yourself. This took me a while to figure out. At first, I didn't think I'd be happy. When I was looking in, say, the first month of the 6 months it took me to find this, I was like, rural area, I don't know, I'm a city boy. Over those 2-3 months, I figured out I was craving peace and quiet. Didn't know that about myself before, but once I got away looking at these different locations of different houses I was looking at, yeah, that spoke to me. I was born in kind of a small town. I was raised in a small town. I sound like John Cougar Mellencamp. That's how I was raised. So even though I was in LA for 30 years, I kind of rediscovered that. How I was raised, what I liked about it back then of where I was raised. I found it again here. It took me a while to find out that true part of myself. It had been dormant for 30 years. So guys, to me, being true to yourself is a huge, dare I say huge part of retirement. It could be the most important. Yes, the other ones are important. Finance. being diligent, having the right location. But if you're not true to yourself, and let's say you move to a place that you thought you might like and you don't like it, how are you going to feel? So guys, do some introspection into yourself. Hey, you got all the time in the world, right? On the weekends, if you're not retired, if you're retired, hey, you might decide to move. But be true to yourself. It'll take you a long way to retirement happiness. And as always, we got this.